diminished chords and augmented chords. Going to be seen a little bit less often than major chords and minor chords, but it's important to know how to build them. And the good news is, if you've been able to wrap your head around the whole major third and minor third thing, then this is going to come pretty easy to you. So one really good example to start with is, I want a B chord. Let's do the letters of the B chord and figure out what that is. If we start with the letter B, then that's going to be our root, and then our third is going to be D, because we got to skip C, and then we're going to skip E and go to F. So root is B, D is the third, F is the fifth. B, D, F. Let's look at the distance between those notes now. B to D, so we have B to C is 1, C to C sharp is 2, C sharp to D is 3. Okay, it's looking like we're setting up for a good minor chord. Let's just keep doing it to make sure that it's following the same rules. D to D sharp is 1, D sharp to E is 2, and E to F, oh no, that's only 3. What the heck? That's not a major chord, that's not a minor chord. This is a minor third plus a minor third. What do we do? Well, don't worry, that's completely normal, and it's actually a diminished chord. So I always like to think that diminished chord is almost like the old-timey horror movies, like, and then the door swung open, you know? It always feels like you're trapped and there's no way out, there's no escape. That's when diminished chords can really be impactful and strong, and it's a very, very tense feeling. So I think it's really cool now that we're learning about the distance between notes. It's like, why do we feel trapped? Why do we feel enclosed? It's like, well, literally in our chords, the spacing between notes is as tight as it can be. That is building that tension in, that feeling of constraint, that feeling of tightness. That's the diminished sound. And it's really, really dark, and it's really cool. So diminished chord actually falls naturally within a major scale. What I mean by that is, let's say we're going to play all the chords in a C major scale. Well, C, E, G is C major, that's our 1 chord. D, F, A, that's our D minor, that's 2. E, G, B, that's our 3 chord, it's minor. F, A, C, that's F major. G, B, D, that's a G major. A, C, E, that's an A minor. And then B, D, F. B, D, F, that's the B diminished chord. So I just have to play C major to resolve that. So there you have it. The B diminished chord actually falls in line naturally. If we just look at the key of C major, which has no sharps and no flats, then it makes perfect sense why B, D, and F actually occurs naturally in the scale. Augmented chords, not so much. They were used some in Romantic era music. They're used a lot more in 19th and 20th century music. But they are more atmospheric. They're used a lot in modern music as well, film scores, and like I said, a lot of sort of outer space kind of theme. So you just saw that a diminished chord is a minor third plus a minor third. You might have a good idea of how to guess what an augmented chord is. An augmented chord is going to be a major third plus a major third. So if you remember your C major chord, you probably remember C to E is a major third, C to C sharp is 1, C sharp to D is 2, D to D sharp is 3, D sharp to E, that's 4. And then E to G was a minor third. E to F is 1, F to F sharp is 2, F sharp to G is 3. So what we need to do is we need to extend the space. It can't be an A flat because we have to go every other letter. So it has to be C, E, G something. So we're going to raise it. We have to increase that space to a G sharp. So instead of C, E, G for a C major, you could do the G sharp there. Do you feel like you're floating into the abyss? Are you lost in outer space? That's the feeling that I get when I hear augmented chords. They're very, very cool in select areas, but yeah, we definitely don't see them very often in guitar. They're not really strummed very often. You will sometimes come across them in finger picking, but other than that, yeah, you don't come across them nearly as often as diminished chords, major chords, minor chords. That's diminished chords and augmented chords in a nutshell. Just remember, a diminished chord is a minor third plus a minor third. An augmented chord is a major third plus a major third. So diminished, you can think of as a 3 plus a 3. Augmented is a 4 plus a 4. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.